Hello everybody, this is Refresh and I am here to bring you a battle between the Game Night 2019 decks and the Defeat a God Challenge deck from Journey into Nyx. We'll be playing with 3 hero cards. We'll be using the Harvester, which says tap, draw a card, then discard a card. The Vanquisher, which says your starting hand size is increased by 1, your maximum hand size is increased by 1. And the Explorer, which says you may play an additional land on each of your turns. Because I only have 1 copy of each of these cards, I'm going to be applying all 3 hero cards to all 5 decks simultaneously. We'll be playing 2 games, the first one on normal difficulty with 3 Rollicking Throngs, and then we'll be back for hard mode. We'll get started by drawing 8 cards apiece. Red draws a mountain, a mountain, a mountain, a Howling Golem, Fiendish Duo, Zealot of the God Pharaoh, Tectonic Rift, and Pack Mastiff. We're going to keep this hand. Black draws Blood for Bones, Gorging Vulture, Swamp, Torgar Famine Incarnate, Sanitarium Skeleton, Accursed Horde, Swamp, and Swamp. We'll keep this hand. Blue draws River's Rebuke, Cloud Conceer, Howling Golem, Unsummon, Warden of Evil's Owls, Air Elemental, Island, and Island. I think we're a little short on lands here, so we are going to return this. Because this is multiplayer, we'll get a free mulligan, and we have drawn a Salvager of Secrets, Cloud Conceer, Cryptic Serpent, Frostlinks, Island, 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 and Air Elemental. It's not a great hand, but we will keep this. White draws Inspiring Captain, Mighty Leap, Squad Captain, Relief Captain, Plains, 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 and Raise the Alarm. It's not great, but we will keep this hand. Green draws a Thundering Spineback, Forest, Howling Giant, Thunderherd Migration, Forest, Leafkin Druid, and Galta Primal Hunger. This is not ideal, but we will keep this. Because this is multiplayer, we'll draw on the first turn. Red draws a Shock. Black draws a Swamp. Blue draws a Salvager of Secrets. White draws a Zetalpa Primal Dawn. Green draws a Crested Herd Caller. Red will play 2 mountains. We'll tap both mountains and then play a Pack Mastiff. This is a 2/2 Hound, and for 1 in a red, each creature you control named Pack Mastiff gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Black will play 2 swamps. We'll tap one of the swamps and play the Sanitarium Skeleton. This is a 1/2 skeleton, and for 2 and a black, return Sanitarium Skeleton from your graveyard to your hand. Blue will play 2 islands. White will play 2 plains. Green will play 2 forests. And we will tap 2 mana to play the Leafkin Druid. This is a 0/3 Elemental Druid, and it says tap, add green. If you control 4 or more creatures, add green, green instead. We'll pass to Xenagos. Xenagos will cast the top 2 cards. Now, because Xenagos has the capacity to instantly kill all of the decks on Xenagos' first turn, if that happens, we're going to mulligan whatever card that would cause an instant kill. Xenagos casts Wild Mayonnaise. This is a 3/1 Human Reveler with first strike, and when it leaves the battlefield, each player gains 3 life. And also casts a Serpent Dancer. This is a 2/4 Human Reveler with Death Touch, and when it leaves the battlefield, each player draws a card. And then Xenagos will pass the turn. At the end of Xenagos' turn, we'll use a Harvester. Red draws a Mountain, and we will discard a Tectonic Rift. Black draws a Dread Presence, and we will discard Torgar Famine Incarnate. Blue draws an Island, and we will discard the Salvager of Secrets. White draws a Plains, and we will discard the Mighty Leap. Also, at the end of the turn, White will tap both planes and cast Raise the Alarm. This is an instant. It says create 2 1/1 White Soldier creature tokens. Green draws a Forest, and we will discard a Howling Giant. We'll untap. Red draws a Mountain. Black draws a Bone Splinters. Blue draws an Island. White draws Plains. Green draws a Forest. Red will play both mountains. We'll tap out and play Zealot of the God Pharaoh. This is a 4/3 Minotaur Archer, and for 4 and a red, Zealot of the God Pharaoh deals 2 damage to target opponent or planeswalker. Black will play both swamps. Black will tap out and then play first a Gorging Vulture. This is a 2/2 bird with flying. When it enters the battlefield, put the top 4 cards of your library into your graveyard. You gain 1 life for each creature card put into your graveyard this way. We mill a Undead Servant, a Tattered Mummy, a Swamp, and a Gravedigger. That is 3 creatures, so we'll gain 3 life to go up to 23. We'll take back the last Swamp, and we'll hold that. Blue will play both islands, and then blue will tap 3 mana and cast the Frostlinks. This is a 2/2 Elemental Cat. When it enters the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. We will target Xenagos. Xenagos is tapped. White will play 2 plains, and then we will tap all 4 lands and then play a Inspiring Captain. This is a 3/3 human knight. When it enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. The soldiers are now 2/2s. Green will play both forests. Green will tap 2 mana and cast Thunderheart Migration. This is a sorcery. It says that it's an additional cost to cast this spell. Reveal a dinosaur card from your hand or pay 1. Will reveal the Crested Herd Collar. And then we'll search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle your library. Here's a forest. Then we'll tap the other 2 forests and play another Leafkin Druid. We'll go to combat and attack one of the Rollicking Throngs with the Pack Mastiff. The Sanitarian Skeleton will join that attack on the Rollicking Throng. The 2/2/2 soldiers will attack another Rollicking Throng. This will kill 2 Rollicking Throngs. Then black will tap the swamp and then cast Bone Splinters. It's a sorcery. It says, as an additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice a creature and then destroy target creature. We'll sacrifice the Sanitarium Skeleton and we'll destroy the Serpent Dancers. The Serpent Dancers die and each player will draw a card. Red draws a Ripscale Predator. Black draws a swamp. Blue draws an island. White draws a plains. Green draws a forest. We'll go to Xenagos' turn. Xenagos can't untap because of the Frost Links, and we'll cast the top 2 cards. The first one is Xenagos' Strike. It says Xenagos' Strike deals 4 damage to each player. That is 5 players, so we'll take 20 damage and go to 3. And then we'll cast the next card, which is Rollicking Throng. It's a 1/3 human reveler. When it enters the battlefield, reveal the top card of Xenagos' library, and Xenagos casts that card. We'll cast the next card, which is an Ecstatic Piper. When Ecstatic Piper enters the battlefield, Xenagos Ascendant attacks this turn if able. Hero's Reward, when it leaves the battlefield, each player gains 2 life. Xenagos can't attack this turn, so we just survive this one. At the end of Xenagos' turn, we'll use the Harvester. Red draws a Mountain, and we'll discard the Ribscale Predator. Black draws an Undead Servant, and we'll discard the Accursed Horde. Blue draws a Decision Paralysis, and discards the Decision Paralysis. White draws a Fiend Binder, and discards the Fiend Binder. Green draws a Forest, and will discard the Forest. We'll untap. Red draws a Goblin Smuggler. Black draws a Sanitarium Skeleton. Blue draws an Island. White draws a Plains. Green draws a Forest. Red will play both Mountains. We'll tap out and play the Fiendish Duo. This is a 5/5 Devil with first strike. If a source would deal damage to an opponent, it deals double that damage to that player instead. Black will tap 4 and play the Dread Presence. This is a 3/3 Nightmare. Whenever a swamp enters the battlefield under your control, choose 1. You draw a card and you lose 1 life. Or Dread Presence deals 2 damage to any target and you gain 2 life. We'll play a swamp and then we'll deal 2 damage to the Wild Maenads. The Wild Maenads die. Each player will gain 3 life. There are 5 players. Gaining 3 life apiece is 15. That'll bring us up to 18 life. Then black will tap the swamp and we'll play another Sanitarium Skeleton. Blue will play 2 islands and then we'll tap out. Play the Cryptic Serpent. This is a 6/5 Serpent and it costs 1 less for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. We have 1 and so it costs 6 mana. White will play 2 plains. We'll tap 4 mana and we'll cast the Relief Captain. This is a 3/2 Core Knight ally. When it enters the battlefield, support 3. We'll put our +1/+1 counters on our 3 other creatures. Green will play both forests. We'll tap 5 mana and cast the Crested Herd Collar. This is a 3/3 dinosaur with trample. When it enters the battlefield, create a 3/3 dinosaur creature token with trample. And now we have 4 creatures, so the Leafkin Druids tap for 2 instead. So we'll tap both of them for 4, and then another 2 for 6, and then we'll cast Galta Primal Hunger. It is a 12/12 Legendary Elder Dinosaur, and it costs X less to cast, where X is the total power of creatures you control, and it has trample. We have 6 power of creatures, so the cost is discounted by 6, letting us cast it for 6. We'll go to combat. The Pack Mastiff will attack one of the Rollicking Throngs, and the Zealot of the God Pharaoh will attack the Ecstatic Piper. The Inspiring Captain will finish off the other Rollicking Throng. Xenagos' creatures die. We'll gain 2 life per player for a total of 10 life, taking us up to 38. And then we'll pass to Xenagos. Xenagos will untap and cast the top 2 cards. The first one is an Ecstatic Piper. The second one is an Ecstatic Piper. Xenagos will attack this turn. We'll go ahead and take 6 to go down to 22. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Red draws a Pack Mastiff and we'll discard the Goblin Smuggler. Black draws a swamp, we'll discard the Undead Servant. Blue draws an island, we'll discard the Salvager of Secrets. White draws a Patron of the Valiant, we'll discard the Tumblr Primal Dawn. Green draws a Growth Cycle, we'll discard the Growth Cycle. We'll untap. Red draws a Mountain. Black draws a Howling Golem. Blue draws an Island. White draws a Raise the Alarm. Green draws a Forest. We have this in the bag, so we'll go ahead and finish this game off. Red will tap the mountain and cast Shock. This is an instant. It says Shock deals 2 damage to any target. We'll target one of the Ecstatic Pipers. It dies. We gain 10 life to go up to 32. Black will play the Swamp, triggering the Dread Presence. It'll deal 2 damage to the other Ecstatic Piper. The Ecstatic Piper dies. We'll gain another 10 life to go up to 42. We'll go to combat, and Zealot of the God Pharaoh will attack into Xenagos Ascended. Because of the Fiendish Duo, it deals double damage to Xenagos, which is 8. Zealot of the God Pharaoh will die, but so will Xenagos, and the Game Night 2019 decks will win the day. We'll be right back with Hard Mode. Now it's time for Hard Mode. We have 4 Rollicking Throngs assembled here, and we'll get started by drawing 8 cards apiece. Red draws a Howling Golem, Mountain, Goblin Smuggler, Mountain, Fiendish Duo, Mountain, Ripscale Predator, and Lathis Dragon Queen. It's not a great hand, but we will keep it. Black draws a Swamp, Crow of Dark Tidings, Murder, Swamp, Swamp, Accursed Horde, Blood for Bones, and an Undead Servant. This is not a great hand, but we will keep it as well. Blue draws an Island of Frostlinks, an Island, an Island, an Island, an Island, and an Island. I don't think we're keeping a 7-lander, so we will return this and use our free mulligan. Blue draws a Cloud Concealer, Claustrophobia, Island, Island, Rise from the Tides, River's Rebuke, Island, and Agent of Treachery. This is not a very good hand, but because of the Claustrophobia, we're going to keep it. White draws an Inspiring Captain, Plains, Mighty Leap, Plains, 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 Patron of the Valiant, and Plains. This doesn't have any action, really, until later in the game, so we're going to return this using our free mulligan. White draws a Plains, Patron of the Valiant, Inspired Charge, Raise the Alarm, Plains, Token Free Blade, and Pacifism. We like this hand, so we'll keep it. Green draws a Leafkin Druid, Wakeward Elemental, Grazing Whiptail, Thundering Spineback, Overcome, Forest, Earthshaker Giant, and Howling Giant. 1 land is a no-keep, so we'll return this immediately. Green draws a Forest, Growth Cycle Forest, Overcome, Spidery Grass, Plummet, and Silverback Shaman. This is also actually a really bad hand because it doesn't have a creature until the Silverback Shaman, and so we're going to return this and go down to 7. Green draws a Spidery Grasp, Voracious Hydra, Forest, Growth Cycle, Forest, Overcome, Thundering Spineback, and Ripjaw Raptor. This is also a terrible hand because we can't really do anything, and so we're going to return this and go down to 6. Green draws a Forest, a Spidery Grasp, a Ranging Raptors, a Forest, a Howling Giant, and a Forest. This is a bad hand, but we're going to keep it. We're going to take the Spidery Grasp and one of the Forests and stick that on the bottom. Red draws a Mountain. Black draws a Sanitarium Skeleton. Blue draws an Island. White draws a Plains. Green draws a Forest. Red will play 2 Mountains. Black will play 2 Swamps. We'll tap one of those swamps to cast a Sanitarium Skeleton. Blue will play 2 Islands. White will play 2 Plains. We'll tap both Plains and cast Pacifism, targeting Xenagos. This is an Aura, enchanted creature. Enchanted creature can't attack or block. Xenagos is pacified. Green will play 2 Forests. We'll go to Xenagos' turn. He'll cast the top 2 cards. The first one is the Serpent Dancers. The second one is Impulsive Destruction. Each player may sacrifice an artifact or enchantment. It deals 3 damage to each player who didn't sacrifice a permanent this way. We don't have any artifacts or enchantments to sacrifice, so we'll take 3 damage each, dealing 15 damage to take us down to 5. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Red draws a Destructive Tampering, and will discard the Destructive Tampering. Black draws an Undead Servant and discards the Undead Servant. Blue draws an Island, and we will discard Rise from the Tides. White draws a Squad Captain, and we will discard the Inspired Charge. Green draws a Ripjaw Raptor, and we will discard the Howling Giant. We'll untap. Red draws a Pack Mastiff. Black draws a Murder. Blue draws a Gale Strike. White draws a Plains. Green draws a Leafkin Druid. Red will play both Mountains. We'll tap 3 mana and play the Howling Golem. This is a 2/3 artifact golem. Whenever it attacks or blocks, each player draws a card. Black will play a Swamp. We'll tap 3 mana and cast Murder, targeting the Serpent Dancers. The Serpent Dancers die. Each player draws a card. Red draws a Spark Tongue Dragon. Black draws a Swamp. Blue draws a Winged Words. White draws a Mighty Leap. Green draws a Forest. Blue will play both islands, and then we'll tap 3 to cast the Cloud Conceer. This is a 2/1 elemental wizard with flying, and when it enters the battlefield, draw a card. We'll draw an air elemental. White will play both planes. We'll tap 2 planes to cast a Tough and Free Blade. This is a 2/2 human soldier with vigilance and renown 1. Green will play both forests. We'll tap all the lands and we'll play a Ripjaw Raptor. This is a 4/5 dinosaur with Enrage. Whenever it is dealt damage, draw a card. We'll pass to Xenagos. Xenagos will cast the top 2 cards. The first one is an Ecstatic Piper. The second one is Impulsive Return. Return 2 cards named Ecstatic Piper from Xenagos' graveyard to the battlefield. At the beginning of combat this turn, Impulsive Return deals damage to each player equal to the number of revelers on the battlefield. We don't have any Ecstatic Pipers to return to the battlefield. However, there are 5 revelers on the battlefield, and each player will take 5 damage, dealing us 25 damage to defeat us. So the Game Night 2019 decks lose to Xenagos, and that is that. These decks simply were far too slow to start, and so that ends this battle. Let me know what your thoughts were about these games in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you'd like to see more of my videos, you can hit subscribe. This was Refresh. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.